afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to Phil's Corner. My name is Phil. This is a channel all about football shirts, and in today's stream, in today's show, we are going to be ranking the latest football shirts on a giant tier list, including, excitingly, the new Real Madrid shirt. Now, spoilers, minor spoilers, I really like the shirt. How much I like it? Well, we'll get into that very soon. But welcome, and already we've got a couple of our regulars in chat. We've got Daredevil. You can see Daredevil says morning from South Florida. Happy Friday, Junior, indeed. Happy Friday, Junior, to you too, my friend. Matthew says, hi Phil. Hope you all mate picked up the new Bango Away shirt last week. From Fnatic, did you manage to pick either up? So the crazy thing was, I went to buy the Bango shirt and added it to my basket, and then got an email later on saying that the shirt was out of stock. So it was a really strange situation. I reached out to Fanatics, and so I almost had it, and then it was taken away from me at the last minute. But if the Botafogo shirt is on for Fanatics, I will make a note of that, because I was also keen to get that one, of course. So what I will probably do, let me just actually check. I'm doing this now on my second screen. Okay, yeah, so let's just go here. Yeah, so if the Botafogo shirt is on there, as I say, then I'll be very keen. I also obviously need to check Bangu, check if it's in stock. Yeah, it's anyway, I'll hopefully be joining you on that. It's a pre-order. Gotcha. Man, I've fumbled that one, haven't I? Hopefully I'll get hold of those shirts at some point. But great stuff, Matthew. Glad you did pick it up, my friend. No dramas. Good to see JPR and Ballum. Almost the Euros, indeed. It's a back-to-back great releases for Jamaica. Yes, Jamaica. We'll hopefully get onto Jamaica today. Let me just check if they're on. I don't know if they're on our site, Football Shirt Culture. If they're not, of course, we'll make Jamaica the feature of next week. But yeah, Jamaica, great release. Really excited about those kits, and the combination of the home and away is really sweet. Uruguay playing in teamwear. Always fun to see a kind of temporary kit like that one is. So that was quite an interesting sight. Of course, they'll be getting kits from Nike very soon, no doubt. Interested to see those. Indeed, just looking now at the rest of the chat. Sneaky photos from the Copa America. That would be pretty interesting. When does the Copa America start? Actually, I've not kept up to date with the timings or the dates for that. I'm interested to know when that does start. But anyway, as we get into the video, guys, a couple of quick reminders. Firstly, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here. If you're not subscribed already, it really does mean a lot to a small channel like myself. Next week. Great. So the same time as the Euros. Very cool. Please consider subscribing, and also you can go an extra step further and support me on Patreon. Now, any patrons get exclusive videos, monthly videos, updates from myself about what I'm doing, various design projects, other things in my career. There's also a private Slack group, which again, just for patrons, where we're talking about stuff regularly. There's a range of giveaways, again, regular giveaways just for patrons. Best of all, you get a shirt as part of your support. Now, currently, if you sign up in the next month or two, it's my Icarus Cup shirt from 2023. Patrons who sign up later in the year will be lined up to get my new Icarus Cup shirt. So basically, you get a shirt as part of your support. 2 weeks. No worries at all, Daredevil. But right, let's get to our tier list, because that is what we're here to do. You can see here, guys, this is our evolving tier list. Now, we have a number of shirts which which are in our top tier, but you can see the volcano tier, the hottest tier, the hottest shirts. There's not many of them. Indeed, it's quite an exclusive club. As we go further down the list, of course, it gets very, very busy in our second and third tiers, especially. My least favourite shirts of the year are in the Ice Cube tier, but there hasn't been too many shockers this year. Of course, that will change as we go through. Right, Star balances Vista Paris only one league below the McDonald's Liga. League feels impact. I don't know if I can claim it, but nonetheless, it's cool to see the club rising through the ranks again. Now, we're going to use Football Shirt Culture, guys, as a site to rank shirts. But we will start with Real Madrid. Now, that is, of course, the headline of today. So we'll start with that, and then we'll work our way back, go through some of those other kits that we can see on Football Shirt Culture. We'll start, though, with Real Madrid. And I do want to talk about this shirt. Now, in many ways, the Real Madrid home shirt is a kind of a sure thing. You know what the base of the shirt is going to be, and typically most years the main defining feature is the secondary colour. Though they are very, very strict with the base being white, of course. Real Madrid have actually had several different secondary colours. You've had black like this one. You've also had blues, purples, gold. There's been various colours over the years. Black is certainly one of the more traditional options. But really the star of this shirt is the pattern, and we have a variation on the houndstooth pattern. Now, you would recognise the houndstooth pattern even if you don't know the name of it. Seen particularly in the fashion world, this is actually ever so slightly a variation on the traditional houndstooth. Now, I've not really kind of figured out exactly. I'm told there's an R and an M in there somewhere, but nonetheless, it's a twist on the classic houndstooth pattern. And not the first time this has been seen on shirts. A handful of shirts have had this pattern. Even the likes of kind of Bristol Rovers in England had a kit with a houndstooth section. And there's other shirts that have had it. AC Milan had a sort of houndstooth pattern on a third shirt recently. But I must say, I am really, 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 to use another really, high on this kit. I think the way that Adidas and Real Madrid have incorporated this pattern is absolutely textbook, because they have incorporated it as a jacquard, as part of the fabric of the shirt, and that makes all the difference. If this was just a print, and you know, when leaks were going out of this kit, there wasn't, you know, up until, well, the release, there wasn't really any confirmation on how the pattern would be incorporated, but it's great to see it as a jacquard. It really does. Well, it's a complete step up in quality, and a pattern like this, where it's part of the fabric, is almost always going to be superior to a pattern where it's just a print. This is the kind of thing where, like, this is exactly what Adidas as a big brand should be doing, in stepping up to, you know, to the plate for one of their biggest clubs, if not their biggest club. And, you know, just to make things even better, we've got the long sleeve version, which has that houndstooth pattern all the way down the sleeve. Now, this isn't a perfect shirt, and I'm glad we've got a couple more comments here about the size of the Adidas logo. Now, of course, this is, I believe this is the same as the international kits, but I may be wrong. Lafri's Adidas logo is huge. Matthew says, don't know what the deal is with the massive Adidas logo. It's bigger than the club crest. It is bigger, and it's so big that it kind of does throw the balance of the shirt off. There's no doubt about that. Ultimately, I don't think that is a good thing, or it certainly is a negative. However, broadly speaking, I do think this is a good shirt, and I really, really do like, again, not only the look of the pattern, but the way it's been incorporated in the fabric, on the sleeves, and in its fullness. I believe it's on the back. Now, I'm not sure about the replica version of the shirt. That may or may not have the pattern. Now, obviously, if it doesn't, that takes away really the only thing that the shirt has going for it. And as much as I like it, without that pattern, there isn't really much to the shirt. But I do like this one as a whole, despite the large Adidas logo. And it's a good point to mention, guys. I think, broadly speaking, it's funny how in some shots it looks worse than others. I think certainly when it's kind of front on, like we have with Jude here, it does look a bit off, almost like it is kind of misprinted or off center. We'll have to wait and see a bit more. I mean, we have seen some, of course, of the new international kits on the pitch and that sort of thing. Good to see you, Ajaz. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's a early afternoon here in the UK, but many people joining in from the stateside. Duncan says Madrid always have nice shirts. I think honestly they are a pretty sure bet to have a good home shirt. I really like last season's. That was certainly one of the better ones of recent times for me, and I think now looking at this is potentially even better. Where would I put it on the tier list? That is, of course, the question we're asking ourselves now. I am so high on this that I think it's a surefire slam dunk Flames tier shirt. The Flames tier being our second tier. Indeed, many of the shirts in this tier, they're ones that I'd be looking to collect, and even though they're not in my top tier, my Volcano tier, this is still high praise. Now my computer's been a bit slow, and I'm not. There we go. I think in terms of where in this tier, I would go higher. I would go probably as high as something like a little bit higher than where we are here. I would like it around here. There's a good gap. We'll go aim for the gap, shoot there, and I like it a lot, guys. I really do like this Real Madrid shirt, this Real Madrid home shirt. It's easily one of my favourites of, well, I think I could even say of the modern era, certainly the last kind of decade. And indeed, we will continue to see many more Adidas shirts high on the hot wall, because I am so big on Adidas in 2024. So that's the Real Madrid home shirt. A really, really strong effort. And I would say it's definitely one of the club's best for a long, long time. But we have many more teams to go through, guys. I say many more, not tons more, but we have more. So we will begin, or loop back around, I should say, to Liechtenstein. And we've got a series of shirts from Araya here. Before I do that, I need to rank or move Adidas. So we are tracking the brands, or my feelings towards a brand for any given year. So every time a shirt is ranked, we will kind of move a brand name up or down accordingly. This is supposed to be a rough average of all the brand shirts. Of course, there's going to be some, significant approximation. Thank you, Daredevil, saying I think the replica has the pattern but not as pronounced. That would make sense, because I think it really needs that. I've not seen, again, any good pictures of that, but that would make a ton of sense if they do have the pattern there. So we come to Liechtenstein. Now, the biggest story here with these Araya kits is that these are all shirts which have been created as part of the Kit Assistance Scheme. This is a scheme which UEFA run, and they basically pair up some of their smaller nations with a big brand like Araya to kind of get bespoke kits for teams that often, or certainly in the past, wouldn't have had bespoke kits. So it's a really, really good scheme. It allows, of course, it gives a brand like Araya a number of teams to work with, but for the nations themselves, these are just significantly better than an off-the-shelf template. Even though none of these shirts are particularly groundbreaking. I do like the white here. I think that may be the home. I'm not sure which one is which, to be honest. Maybe the blue's the home, actually. Anyway, I cannot remember Liechtenstein's colours, or home away colours, but we will start with the white here, as it's the most prominent. Despite a very simple design, you've got these kind of horizontal pinstripes. I think it looks quite strong. That frames the crest and the Araya logo nicely, and the cuffs are a nice feature to get a bit of colour in there. I think this is comfortably in the higher end of the candle tier, and I would say that again, of the 3 shirts, it's my personal favourite. So I think kind of, again, mid to high candle tier, which is not bad at all. And this is, you know, some of the more kind of weaker kits actually of the scheme. There are much better ones, which we'll come on to very, very soon. So actually, you know, the standard is pretty high for these kits. So looking at Liechtenstein, I think it could go there. I think it could go, you know, just above halfway in the 3rd tier. Matthew says, great crest on the Liechtenstein. It is a good crest. I do like it. Very simple, but it is effective. And it's good. It's good to see the red again. It's synergizing with the cuffs there. So there's a nice balance to that one. What about if we come to the blue shirt now? I'm slightly lower in this, but it is good to see across all 3 kits the consistency, or the kind of synergy, I should say, having those same pinstripes, albeit vertically, on the blue shirt here. But that looks good. I'm just saying the white reminds me of the Boca cup shirt, the Mercosur cup shirt. Yeah, it does have that. Maybe that's why I like it, actually. Yeah, that is actually quite a good shout. I hadn't considered that. I am with you there. So just looking at the blue again, I can't remember if this is the home or the away. I'd probably put this slightly further down. Excuse me, the tier list, but I think I still like it. Somewhere around here. Let's go there for Liechtenstein's blue kit. Again, I should know. I think it is red or blue for the home, but the way they've kind of positioned this is as if the white is the home, but I honestly don't know. And then the red is an interesting one. You've kind of got a different style here in terms of the kind of various tones of red, different red bands. Broadly a very similar look to the white shirt, but I think this one is my least favourite of the bunch. I would still put this not far behind the blue shirt though. I think it is definitely, again, a decent enough trio. Nothing really to kind of grab me. If the blue's there, we'll stick the red one here. And that is the Liechtenstein trio. But guys, there is much more to come from a rare. So do stay tuned. In terms of their positioning on the board, on the brand watch section, we'll nudge them down ever so slightly. But again, we're going to have a few more from them. So we will go straight to Kazakhstan now. I think these shirts certainly have a step up from Liechtenstein. And I'm excited to talk about them. I've only just seen them today as I've been preparing. But I do really like the aesthetics of this pattern. Now, subliminal patterns like this it's a very popular approach, very popular style. But I really think this particular pattern is effective. It's got this kind of slightly, particularly on the yellow and the black shirt here, because it's the same colour as the base, it gives the shirt a very nice texture. And even though it's more contrasting on the blue version here, in all 3, the pattern is a real feature. It's a real standout, and I like the aesthetics of the pattern. You can see as well the crest. That is equally effective whether it's monochrome or in the full color version. And you get a good look at the pattern here on this render. And it's an interesting, almost looks like kind of claw marks or something through that pattern. But I like it. I do like, again, the kind of fairly sort of organic nature of it. It's got a certain sort of randomness to it. It's a great pattern to add interest to a shirt, to keep it from being simply just a plain design. And the colorway of the nation, very strong. We've seen a lot of black shirts, but I think that is for good reason. Like, even though this is almost a blackout shirt, and I do tend to be quite critical of blackout shirts, I can't help but enjoy this particular design. So we'll go from front to back here. We'll start with the black and then go to the yellow and then the blue. I think this particular black shirt, and I would guess this is the 3rd shirt, but I do not know for sure. This one for me is a Flames tier shirt. I do like this one a lot, and I think again it really does come down to the aesthetics of the pattern, which I think are strong. Now, in terms of where I would place this shirt, so I think we can go somewhere in this region. Let's go here, just in the Flames tier, but I do like this one. Good question. Is it a goalkeeper kit or third kit? Now, of course, we're not wanting to rank goalkeeper shirts. I believe this is a third shirt, but I'm glad you mentioned that, Daredevil, because of course on the hot wall, we are not ranking keeper kits, just to give ourselves a little bit more breathing room, given how many shirts are on the tier list. But yeah, we will. I think it is the third kit. Duncan says most of the goalkeeper shirt international teams don't generally tend to have those shirts. That used to be the case, Duncan, but it is becoming, though not the standard, it's much more common now than it was even 5 years ago. So I would definitely say that the tide is turning. I think ultimately many teams are releasing third shirts, even though they know they probably don't need to wear them. So it's definitely something to kind of keep an eye out for. But I would say gone are the days when we would expect international teams to only have our home and away. It's of course still this, most teams will only have 2 kits, but yeah, I think we'd be surprised if you look across, international football. There are many teams now with third shirts. For the other one, I honestly think I want to put it in the Flames as well, but we'll go I think it seems fair as well. If we go, there's Liverpool there, we'll go very, very top of our third tier, the counter tier, and that leaves the blue, which I think I would go ever so slightly further back, but still at the higher end of the candle tier. So it's a very strong trio. This is definitely more like what I think Array have in terms of potential working with these nations. It's a very simple set of kits, but I think the strength of the pattern is absolutely justifying the high placement there. So that is a rare. Sorry, that is a rare, but it's a Kazakhstan. So great stuff. We will move a rare back up a bit, given how good those Kazakhstan kits are, and there are more guys, or there are more rare kits, I should specify. We've got Faroe Islands, Belarus, and Andorra. So if we come to the Faroe Islands, many international kits, when they opt for vertical stripes, and particularly stripes of this style, will leave a section blank for numbers. As such, they can look quite jarring without the numbers. This is, much like I believe Georgia's kits this year, and Georgia will be at the Euros. So it's the kind of thing where they do look quite incomplete, and it is a bit of a shame. This is a very simplistic set. This feels like your quintessential international kit, where you've got flag colours in block styles like this. Again, the gap for the numbers we kind of have to try and ignore, at least for the purposes of ranking it. I say that we should still rank it for how it looks without the number, but yeah, it's in some ways a shame to see it like that, because it does, of all the sort of styles, this particular one does really is hurt the most by being numberless. However, I think this one is something around the Liechtenstein kit in terms of my thinking. Middle, maybe mid to high candle for the white shirt here. I do quite like it, and again, seeing it with the number, I'm sure we will like it even more. But as such, ranking the design, I think here somewhere pretty central, feels good. Matthew saying, such a shame that you've done DFC pre-match. It's not the home shirt. I think it would be a Volcano shirt for sure. It probably would be. Matthew, the shirt is absolutely brilliant, as many people pointed out. Significant Sampdoria vibes, but I think the shirt is ultimately it would easily be one of the best on the it would easily be a Volcano tier shout put it that way. Now the black version, I actually would probably take this or put this slightly below the white. I like it just as much, or nearly just as much I should say, but ultimately the white one edges it ever so slightly. I think the combination is a bit stronger. Kind of Crystal Palace vibes here, isn't it, with the black base and the blue and the red, and then the blue is kind of in the middle of the two, so they're all very, very similar in my thinking. It's funny how again, even though these are quite simple, this is certainly better. The kit assistance scheme ultimately is a really good thing for a nation like Faroe Islands. This is, much better than just an off-the-shelf template which wouldn't have any bespoke elements. So I'm happy to see this, even though this design isn't going to set the world on fire. It's a worthy entry in our third tier there, in the candle tier. So we go from the Faroe Islands to Belarus. Now, from a colour perspective, these shirts immediately jump out, and indeed the pattern as well is quite enticing. If we look at both the sleeve pattern and the pattern on the body, you've got a really, really strong aesthetic. Many Belarus kits have had this kind of style where you've got these sort of traditional patterns, and I must say it's great to see the kind of sleeve taping style. It really does make for a good shirt, and I think both these kits are absolute standouts. In fact, the more I look at it, I actually think we have two immediate contenders for the Flames tier. I actually think these are that good. Sneakily, some of the best kits we will probably see today. You've got the wonderful Belarus crest, which has been going for a little while, I believe. But again, I think it's so the kind of the pattern, the different patterns, of course. But I like the combination of a subliminal pattern in the body, which is again this kind of patchwork diamond design, the kind of traditional design, but then the sleeve pattern as well. Having it, I think for me, the real standout is actually the sleeve taping. It's the construction to have it in this style, which of course is a very nostalgic thing, very reminiscent of shirts of the 90s particularly, and particularly Kappa shirts even. So sleeve taping, that's a big tick, and actually the design itself is a big tick. From a colour perspective, these are also some pretty smart shirts. The lighter shirt here is not a colour you often see on the international scene. Kind of a mint or mint adjacent look, but that looks great, and the maroon, the darker red, is good too. Two really good kits, and I think these both have to go for me in the Flames tier. So a real quality set, and it's just great that a nation like Belarus are getting some treatment like this. Really, really impressed. And if we just, I'm trying to resize this. I really don't need to bother too much, but there we go. Starting with the mint shirt, I think it could easily have a place here. We'll stick it just behind England, and then the maroon again. I think this is really effective. I would probably just have it above the away. So a great set of kits, a really brilliant combination. Like, I like this one as much as I do the Germany shirt. Well, I'll put it slightly below, but that's the level of praise I have for these kits, for the Belarus kits, and given how much I like them, it's only right that we bump a rare. Let's have them above Nike. Yeah, a great combination, just excellent in terms of seeing this level of treatment. Araya are a great brand, guys. They are very much jostling for position in a competitive field, especially when you think of the likes of Macron. Araya aren't too far behind. They are further behind on my tier list here. That speaks more, I think, to how much I like Macron rather than my thoughts on Araya. But we continue the goodness with Andorra. Excuse me. And what a wonderful wonderful set of shirts for Andorra. The pattern, which we have here, well, they're different patterns, but both grainy, triangular, geometric looks. Look at the jacket there; it looks like almost like the kind of festival shirts of the German leagues and the European leagues. But Andorra have been really gifted with a great combination here. The home, the red one, is my favourite for sure. I think the way that they've taken quite a bold look with this kind of grainy gradient pattern, which is an aesthetic I really like. You still have a kind of central band there, don't you, which is quite nice, that you've got a fairly kind of progressive dynamic pattern, but there's still kind of a semblance of a more traditional design that the pattern is helping to create. And the yellow, I don't like it as much. I think this is weaker, or the weaker of the two, but ultimately you've still got a really bright, bold colourway, which I do think looks good. So honestly, big fan of both the kits. If we start with the red, which I think is the home, this one is an easy flame steer. Now I probably would put it a bit below Belarus, but not by much. I think this one, yeah, I mean, if we look at it here on the list, I don't mind it. Just ahead of the kind of the bottom section of the second tier. So kind of this region, I like it. I think we'll go here. And for the yellow, that's more of a candle tier shirt for me. I think still somewhat, I need to do that there, avoiding the kind of the lower end of the candle tier. I think it would be more like the middle to high area. So my second favourite set of rare kits today, after Belarus, and another great combination. I mean, I think it can go as high as here, and it's only right that we move Array up once again. They continue to impress, and they are now storming up the tier list as of today. I believe this is in relation to Belarus. I'm just saying I agree they use the cool pass on the flag onto the sleeves, and it works nicely. Indeed. Dead also saying red ones can be Belgium 2018 home vibes. I can see it. So there we go, guys. That's a rare, or a selection of rare kits for this year. Really good. I mean, you know, Belarus, Andorra, great. I like Kazakhstan. Even the Faroe Islands and Liechtenstein. I know. You know, what am I trying to say? They're doing pretty good. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Hot Wall today. I just want to say shout out to all of you guys for tuning into the stream. Really appreciate it. Now we come to Shrewsbury, and these guys are working with the brand Oxen, a brand who have done a lot of work, particularly in rugby and rugby league, notably. This is a very traditional look with the collar, and I'm very happy to see a quote-unquote proper collar. None of this one button nonsense. Got a whole 3 buttons, so getting our money's worth of the buttons. And we've got, you know, very chunky stripes, it must be said. I'm usually a bit more partial to slightly thinner stripes, but I don't mind it at all. And indeed, you know, you've got matching collar and cuffs, which is usually quite a good thing. Yeah, I think this one definitely has, I assume this is based on an old kit. I don't know, maybe it isn't. It certainly has the retro feel. They've nailed that retro aesthetic, and I think it looks good in the release pictures when you see it here. Again, even though I probably would have slightly thinner stripes ultimately. Well, in fact, we should look at Shrewsbury's kit history. I'm saying that, and maybe they actually are typically thicker stripes. Okay, so they've actually had various ones over the years. Some much thicker. What a great kit that was in 1980. and perhaps that was partly the inspiration for the new cut, I don't know. But anyway, if we look at this shirt here, I think it looks really strong. The colours are the shades, I mean these are the club colours, but I don't think the shade of the blue and the is it amber? I think it is amber. I probably wouldn't say it's my favourite combination, but ultimately I think this is a high candle tier shirt. I think we're looking at a very solid shirt, indeed. Now you know what, I think this could even be in the flames tier. Well, let's have a look. First things first, let's cut it out, get it on the wall. Sometimes, guys, as I'm literally ranking these in a matter of, seconds, well, minutes really, more than seconds, isn't it? As I'm ranking them, it's also just a kind of exercise in comparing, right? So would I take it over the Netherlands shirt? I think I probably would. And that does put it in the flames tier. So actually, I think, well, we'll stick it just ahead. So let's go here. Let's not go too crazy. But I do like the shirt. And good stuff from Oxen. I think that may be the first Oxen shirt we've had this year. I don't work with many clubs. Again, they're more known for their work in rugby. Excuse me, guys. I'm just looking. I can't see them. So I'm going to stick Oxen on the board. If we let's just move New Balance up, as we are getting a bit congested. Yeah, let's get Oxen on our brand watch section, and hopefully we see more of the brand. I think certainly on the basis of this kit, I would like to see more of what the brand have to offer, get more of a handle on what the brand are doing at the moment. But that is Shrewsbury. And we keep the fun rolling. Now, we won't talk about pre-match shirts or rank the pre-match shirts. We can briefly touch on them. Certainly there's been a number of good designs. The key thing really with pre-match kits, guys, is it's always worth keeping an eye on them, because often this is where brands will be a little bit freer. They've got more scope, of course, to do different things. So if you're a fan of kind of crazier kits, pre-match designs are often the way to go. And it's fun. Excuse me, sorry. I've suddenly hit a wall 45 minutes in. Yeah, it's always good to see, again, brands have a bit of fun with their pre-match kits. I think Adidas are doing that. So there's been some fun ones, Argentina included. But now we come to Paraguay and Club Nacional. This is their anniversary shirt. A very retro aesthetic with the kind of... I can't not think of Admiral when I think of a design like this. I think, if I'm being honest, the kind of weathered look of the green stripes here, I mean, it could be that. It looks like it's kind of aged aesthetic, or maybe even slightly kind of paint splatters. But it's certainly not my favourite style, if I'm honest. And even though this does have a broadly, quite a retro feel, I don't think the rest of the shirt, the kind of template, the construction, is really helping to speak to that. So this one, it feels like a little bit off. It feels like it's more sort of like a mid candle tier shirt. I don't really think the aesthetic is working for me. I think perhaps if we had more, we could have maybe stripes on the sleeves as well, as crazy as that might be, that would help. And ultimately, I don't think the weathered aesthetic, or at least that's what it looks like they've gone for, it's not really vibing with me, so to speak. So first impressions, this is a middle calendar. Not a bad place to be, all things considered, but definitely not one of the shirts I'd be looking to pick up, shall we say. About Richmond Kickers, heading over to the States, to the USL League One. Now, this ultimately looks like just an Adidas template. That's not necessarily a bad thing. When you see a template which is just a base style, the biggest thing you're looking to are things like What's the colorway chosen? Ideally, is it bespoke to the team? And if it's not, does it work well? And you look at the details, things like the crest, and even the sponsors come into play to kind of help separate a shirt, a good shirt which is on a template, to one which is a bad shirt on a template. I don't think this colorway is really speaking to me too much. I'd probably prefer, though I'm sure this is more because it's been chosen to match with the team's colours. The red isn't my favourite kind of shade. I don't think the combination is that strong. The details kind of get lost a bit. And ultimately this is, well, as far as I know, this is just one of the template styles. I don't think this one is doing too much for me. I don't think this is an example of a stronger template shirt. Oh, I forgot to rank Kappa, didn't I? I should do that. Let me just cut out this guy. And then we will just quickly, because we had, who else did we just have? Okay, we had Oxen, and then we've got Kappa, who are, or Club Nacional I should say. We should certainly make a note of Kappa because they are so high on the list. But we'll bump them down slightly. Anyway, back to Richmond Kickers. Yeah, this one I think is a bit like the Nacional anniversary shirt we saw, if not slightly lower. There will certainly be better shirts in the USL, in USL League One. This is one of those ones which I would definitely pass on, even though it's reasonably smart. It's not doing enough to justify a higher spot on the tier list. Let's go here for Richmond Kickers and their third shirt. Staying with Adidas, we have Fortuna Düsseldorf. So we're in Germany now. This is the Fortuna away shirt. Now, this is funny. There's a very interesting map-based section. There have been so many ways to incorporate a map into a shirt. It was one of the biggest trends of recent years. I don't think I've quite seen a map incorporated like this, where it's just emanating ever so slightly from the crest. Honestly, when I look at it on the shirt, it just looks like it's marked or damaged. I think I'd rather it wasn't there, or maybe it was slightly more subliminal. Ultimately, it is a creative idea. And in some ways, I guess I'd probably take this over just a full map pattern. Given how many map kits we've seen, it's interesting to kind of see it consigned to just this area around the shirt. And I would assume, around the crest, I would assume the stadium is going to be there, right? Like usually when you have an element like that in a map, it's kind of like a pin in a map in Google Maps or whatever. So I can't say I'm loving that element. Now, it was a nice backnet detail. I do like that. And this is in Adidas' newest template, which I quite like. I do like. But I think honestly that, like, it's just funny seeing that section there. My first thought was that looks like it's like a mark in some way. So not super high in this one, but it's certainly interesting to see a map-based kit, or a design which incorporates a map in this particular way. I can't say we've seen many, if any, that have done it. I mean, there's certainly been maps around crest, don't get me wrong, but I think to see it literally just in that section, maybe I'm forgetting some obvious ones, but it's not your standard map-based look for Fortuna Düsseldorf from Adidas, and I think I'd still kind of go mid to low counter tier. Very interesting though, and ultimately I do think the Adidas template is quite good. I would definitely still look out for shirts in this template, because I do think even the weaker shirts, so to speak, in this template are actually still some of the better ones. I think it's one of the better templates. Duncan said it was most solid play for Düsseldorf. Could be a really bad body double, couldn't it? But I do see it. What about Ulsan HD? Now these guys have kind of quietly made a bit of a a ripple effect, shall we say, through the industry. Certainly their kits have caught the attention of a few people. Really like the combo here. These kind of pastel colours, the pinks, almost like a peachy kind of pink, and the purple. Oh, we should have ranked Adidas. In fact, we'll do that after also. Yeah, I believe these guys come out of Korea. In fact, they're even the current champions. So there we go. Is the shirt deserving of their on-pitch success, or does it match the on-pitch success? I think ultimately you either love, well, these colours are kind of really the only story of the kit, but I do like the combination. It's definitely, I mean, as a third shirt, there's a lot to like here. I think that's the kind of biggest thing, where third shirts are the perfect place to kind of have a bit of fun with the colorway. And as a number of teams in Asia do, notably in Japan and sometimes in Korea as well, having the kind of team name in the traditional colours on the sleeve is a fun detail which you often see, again, particularly with clubs in Asia. So I don't know, I assume this colourway has been chosen simply because they think it looks good. Yeah, I assume this isn't a kind of traditional colourway, but I would definitely rank this one. I think this one, almost on account of its colourway alone, has me intrigued. I think I would put it probably in the Flames tier. Not super high in the Flames tier, but I do really like the combination. I'm a big fan of kind of peachy shades, if I can put it that way. Like this, but also, you know, when you have kind of lighter shades of red, which are still red, but which have a bit more of a kind of pastel-y, peachy tone to them, I think that looks quite well. That works quite well. So I like this one. I think this could be, in fact, to be honest, looking at this, I would probably stick this even ahead of, like, I'd go as high as here, and this is largely because of the colours. It's not really you know, got much in the way of patterns, but the details are well matched as well with the kit. Yeah, I like it. And we will now look at Adidas. If we just take a look at a few of the Adidas kits, we've got where are we? Yeah, I think we can probably ever so slightly bump Adidas down, but not by too much. Basically, you're able to rank the Bango ratio. It's not on football shirt culture. Absolutely, let's do it. This is something which is a strange how sometimes shirts just don't end up on football shirt culture, but we will rank the Bango shirt because I would like to talk about that. In fact, we've got, what have we got? We've got Spurs as well. So I think what I'll do is we'll end the review with a look at both Spurs and Bangu. Let's start with Bangu, and then we'll pick up the rest of these either next week, or I'll do them off stream depending on how many shirts there are. But let's start with Bangu now. Probably the best thing to do. I think I've already got some pictures of the Bangu shirts, so let me just dig those out. In fact, I could even just jump to Twitter because I definitely tweeted about it. I was a big fan of the Bangu shirt. And so much so we were talking about it obviously earlier today. As I scroll through, it's definitely coming up. I mean, it is saved somewhere on my computer, but now I've started scrolling, I feel like I have to commit. Here we go. Well, this is one image, but really strong look. What you don't see actually on this particular image is the sleeve taping as well, which is obviously very Kappa. That image is absolutely massive. Let's reduce it. I love the little crest, the little kind of fighting beaver. There's a whole story there with the I believe it's the owner, and there's various things to kind of enjoy there. But although we're kind of missing a lot of the details on this cutout, I would go very high on this shirt. In fact, I would actually say, well, let's hang on. Let's do. Let me find some more pictures of the shirt, because that's not going to do it justice. It does look like a 70s Liverpool away top, doesn't it? I do see it there. Let's go to our good friends, Football Kit Archive. They do a good job, actually. You can see here. There we go. Got some more pictures. Getting a look at this. Though it's not actual taping, I don't think, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is taping, but I think it's just kind of printed. But I may be wrong on that. I like the shirt a lot. I think this is easily like high flame steer. Very simple aesthetic, but having the Bangu sponsor there in the kind of old Umbro style. This doesn't fit the guy very well there. You can see the amount of space on the collar isn't great. That's one thing which I would say something to consider. But ultimately, I do like the shirt a lot, and it's an easy inclusion. As I say, pretty high up the tier list. In fact, I think it would probably rank around where I put the Real Madrid shirt, maybe even higher. It is very simple, but I think little things like the alternate crest and the sponsor are so strong, along with the Kappa aesthetic. Yeah, sadly not proper taping, but I mean, I still think I'd rather have kind of faux taping, fake taping than none at all. Yeah, I like this one. I mean, we've got Vasco there. Let's go here. Let's go right as high as that for the Bangu away. Definitely a shirt which I would like to pick up. Hopefully I will be able to, but we'll see if I can resolve my my issues I was having with ordering the shirt. But we come to Spurs now, and we'll end with Spurs, because obviously this is a big release given the size of the club, and this is of course one of Nike's premier teams. Notably, a lot of navy on the shirt, must be said, more than you'd expect, or more than typically Spurs have, and I think I quite like it at first impression. The sleeve cuffs are interesting. Ultimately, as well, having this aesthetic, it's not quite a kind of Ajax look, is it? But I'd almost be interested to see. I mean, if we take, so you know, I'm just literally going to search Ajax home shirt. Your typical Ajax look, I'd be intrigued to see. I don't know if Spurs have done this before, but maybe even bring the navy in a bit more. That would be a very bold look. But I'd be interested to see that. I feel like they've already kind of started on that journey. They could have pushed it in a bit more. Maybe that would have been all over the place. But ultimately, this is definitely one of my preferred Spurs home shirts of recent years. This is about as progressive as it gets, and about as daring as it gets for a Spurs home shirt. I do think it's quite effective. It's funny how I was worried that more teams would get really unusual collars after the international kits that we saw, the international Nike kits. But many of them seem to actually be using just standard collars, for better or for worse. I'd say it's largely for better. But yeah, Duncan, I think definitely speaking to one of the challenges here, the perennial problem of what to do with white shirts. I think, you know, many people of course highlight the sponsor as well being so jarring, and it's hard to, you know, ignore that. I would agree. I think I'm almost so kind of conditioned by it, or I've seen it so often that I almost kind of pass over it, but it is worth mentioning that, I think. Yeah, so I think this actually brings some interesting ideas to the table, and I would actually go pretty high in the counter tier. I don't think it's too far from the Flames tier for me, but I kind of wish they were a little bit more daring. Now that would have probably rustled some feathers. I mean, if we just look at, let's go again to old football shirts, our trusted resource for teams' kit histories. And I'm just looking through here. Obviously, we've had navy, significant parts of navy, parts of a Spurs shirt in navy. But yeah, I mean, as weird as it would have been, I kind of would have liked to have seen them basically do an Ajax. Probably would have been too daring, but I think they've built up, like Nike have played it safe enough that they could have afforded to do that. But maybe I'm just being a bit too crazy there. If anyone is a Spurs fan in chat, I'd love to hear from you. No, I do like the shirt, and actually I do think that, again, despite it being somewhat ruined by the colour of the sponsor, I would go. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the list here. There's not many spaces, is there? We don't have to find a space, of course, but I actually would go here for Spurs. Alongside Roma, yeah, that feels good. I actually like them a similar amount. And I think that is where we will leave it, guys. So, recapping today, Real Madrid was a big talking point, and indeed that featured highly. But we also had a late surge from the likes of Bangu. That shirt's been out for a few weeks, but we did get that on the board, which is good to see. And of course, Araya being a big talking point. There's shirts for the likes of Andorra, Belarus as well, doing very well, and Kazakhstan. A number of really good shirts today. And actually, we forgot to rank Nike. We'll bun them up slightly after Spurs. Yeah, that is the whole rule. What am I doing? I'm switching scene. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. On your way out, if you've got a spare few minutes, check out my unboxing video. Our kind of final call for that one, but I do want to say it would mean a lot if you could support me, given that is a partnership I had with UEFA, or UEFA Champions League I should say, via an affiliate. But basically any views for that are really welcome. I've also got a YouTube Shorts video, and there will be another one coming out as well about the shirt, the unboxing that I did. So any views for that I really appreciated. I do want to plug that. But thank you for those who have watched it, and indeed thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, Matthew. Really enjoyed your company, and indeed others who have tuned in as well. Yeah, next week will be fun. Of course, it will be the eve of the Euros, so a lot to talk about in that regard. And we will be doing a video ahead of the Euros, a video during the Euros, and a video after the Euros. And there'll be pre-recorded videos, not streams like this, but we'll still be doing the streams. And I think, again, I'm finalising exactly what the content will be, but it's going to be a fun one nonetheless. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for supporting. As always, I'll leave with the outro scene. But take care, all the best, and if I don't speak to you before the end of the week, have a good rest of your week, and see you soon.